Hello, everyone. It's great to have a full audience here. Next time we need a bigger room. So my name is Itzhak Yesselman, and I lead real-time intelligence at Microsoft. I'm super excited to be here today and show you how you can build easily scalable and powerful solution to accelerate your decision-making and operations in your company across all industries and user roles. It's also great to be here just a year after announcing real-time intelligence to the world. And I'm also thrilled today to show our new announcements, new capabilities, and great demos that we're going to show to you. And we have a few of our customers that will join me today on stage to show you about how they're using the product in their scenarios. So without further ado, let's get started. Data and AI disrupting industries when it comes to transforming business operations. It has always been hard to work with high granularity data, the ability to analyze a single data point out of trillions of records. I've been working with data for more than 20 years, starting with signal processing algorithms on the edge, yes, I've been a nerd, to big data analytics over petabytes of data, even before the term big data was invented. I've also been leading the Power BI mobile apps, Power BI Service, and Power BI Premium. Many organizations go through the same process of collecting, analyzing, driving insights, and ultimately acting on this data. And data, it is everywhere in the world around us. There's an explosion of high granularity data in motion, data coming from sensors, IoT devices, applications, business processes, and more, all the telemetry and logs. And the acceleration of data in motion means businesses and operations and customer expectations are higher than ever before. Advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning help with the tooling. But however, at the same time, they also generate a ton of data in real time. And they also depend on this data to create accurate output. As you can see, there are many verticals that use real-time intelligence today. Not only the typical traditional IoT or manufacturing, but other industries like healthcare, aviation, logistics, and more. This is where real-time intelligence changes the game. We have seen organizations that are not adapting to the new world fall behind, and those that are becoming the new industry leaders. Real-time intelligence delivers a powerful and end-to-end solution, from streaming data in, generating insights, powering live dashboards, smart alerts, all built in AI and Copilot capabilities. This is the time to capitalize on AI, to accelerate your business operations into the future. So you might be thinking, that's not a new problem, so what have changed? And again, many organizations, new developers, need to figure that out. The market is very fragmented. There is no end-to-end solution. That means developers like you need to stitch and build those solutions together. This can cost a lot of money. It takes a lot amount of time. And those solutions are hard to maintain, costly. And because of the data fragmentation, you cannot generate AI insights out of it. And because of that, many don't even try. To succeed, customers need to have an easy-to-use end-to-end solution that empowers everyone in the organizations to unlock the actionable insights behind all this data. Bringing data in should be seamless. Extracting value from it should be fast and intuitive by leveraging a unified data estates. This is how to harness the power of AI to discover even the unknown unknowns. So I've covered the challenges. Now what we do about it. So I'm sure many of you heard about Fabric as the unified data platform for AI transformation. And Fabric brings together the world of analytics, data integration, BI, and of course, real-time intelligence into one cohesive solution. Real-time intelligence built on the proven scale, reliability, and compliance of Microsoft Azure real data platforms, with no-code and self-service experiences of Power BI and Activator, all infused with AI. And the result is a simple, intuitive solution in Microsoft Fabric. This makes it approachable for users of all roles, from business users to analysts, to data engineers, and of course, to developers. It's built on proven technologies that operate at a massive scale, ingesting and processing thousands of trillions of records to power low-latency insights and automate actions. 10 exabytes of data, logs per month. It's like stacking books from here to the sun more than 1.5 times. And Fabric Real-Time Intelligence make it easy to bring data in across Microsoft, but also across clouds, from services like Google PubSub, Amazon Kinesis, and Apache Kafka. All those streams available in the Real-Time Hub, empowering users and developers to discover, manage, generate insights, and take actions. Data ultimately flows into one lake, where other workloads across Fabric can take advantage of it. And the best part, it's generally available for 5 months. And speaking of GA, since GA, we've seen tremendous response from our customers. And as you can see, we have more than 9,000 customers using the product today. And it's the fastest growing workload in Fabric. Those are just a few examples of our customers who are already using Fabric Real-Time Intelligence today. And with that, I would like to invite one of our customers, Carl, Corporate Chief Data Officer for Veolia, to share his story with us today. So, Carl, welcome to Seattle. Hope the jet lag is not too bad. So, tell us a bit about yourself and Veolia.
Thanks, Isaac. Great to be here. So yeah, I'm Carl O'Hanlon. I'm the Group Chief Data and Analytics Officer for Veolia. I've been at Veolia for 15 years, nearly. Started as a data analyst in 2010, and I've led a number of teams that have connected data to improving our business performance. Veolia, we are a global leader in environmental services, dedicated to accelerating the ecological transformation. So just under 220,000 employees across 57 countries. And we design and implement practical and innovative solutions across wastewater and energy services. So yeah.
Thank you, Carl. So what is critical in Veolia's success in this era of AI?
Yeah, so we're a global business. So we operate thousands of sites across the world, and each of these sites has hundreds or thousands of sensor devices reading every second. So about 80% of our business can actually use real-time sensor data to identify improvements, whether that's to reduce cost or improve efficiency or to increase the reliability of our services. Our ambition is to become a real leader in ecological AI, and to achieve that, we need to move forward at pace and together in the same direction. So creating a consistent platform, having an inner source coding strategy or roadmap for feature development on this platform, and putting kind of the collaborative tools in the hands of the right people so that they can deliver the right solution for their customers is really, really important for us. And our sites actually operate at a really high level of efficiency. So getting to that last percentage of improvement is really difficult, and that's where real-time intelligence and AI can really help us.
So what is your current situation today at Veolia, and what have you evaluated?
Yeah, so we've got quite a few issues or challenges that we're trying to overcome.
Opportunities.
Opportunities, let's say. So first of all, time series data has some very specific properties. So you can't really treat it in the same way you would, other data sets, and you've shown kind of the different technologies you need to do that. And we also have many solutions in-house that are trying to do this at the moment, and that creates a lot of problems for us. The total cost of ownership is really high, as Itzhak said, and also it really kind of hinders us when we're trying to scale these solutions globally. With Gen AI and Agentic AI, data quality is going to be the line between success and failure in our strategy. So again, it's really important to put that in place. And we want to deliver our solutions in days, not in months or in years. So if we want to scale this globally across all of our customers, that has to be the kind of time frame that we're looking at.
Thanks, Carl. And we are in developer conference, so do you want to share the architecture of your solution?
Sure. So effectively, we've got a single solution that we can plug into any site globally, and that will extract the data and send it through EventStream and into Event House. Event House is the processing engine that's really fine-tuned for processing time series data. So it's perfect for handling the data that we've got. We use the OneLake for the storage, of course. And then we use Power Apps to provide a kind of user-friendly interface so that our people on site will be able to configure their time series data. And then all of that is made available through several outputs, whether that's real-time dashboards or Power BI, Copilot.
And Little Bird told me that you have a demo for us, which is new.
Yeah, so we've got a short demo just to show some of the real-time intelligence bits. So I'll take you through this. This is the start of our process, and we load a config file into this system that pushes the data directly into Fabric real-time intelligence. So it's super, super easy to get that data in there. Once we're in Fabric, this is the event stream, and we just apply some initial steps, so filters and things like that to get it ready. And then we have real-time dashboards, and we can set alerts on any of these things. So it's, again, super easy. Set the prefigured configurations on the demo, set the values. And as we don't use Teams, we're going to set a trigger to send it to Google Chat, and that will then go into one of our chat spaces for our teams to pick up on the actions. For this, we have KQL libraries, and the KQL libraries are really important to us. They're common functions that allow us to manage this time series data. So KQL has helped us remove about thousands of lines of code from our existing system. And we run it in real time instead of batches. And these libraries can be contributed by anyone globally. So it's an inner source strategy for development. So let's see one of these in action. So on the left-hand side, you have the raw data, and on the right-hand side, you have the cleansed data with all the quality checks applied. So you can see that coming through. I'm going to select one sensor. Great. So we've got one sensor now, and what we're going to do is go into the Power Apps, and we're just going to set some configuration. So we'll select one sensor, find it, and we're going to turn on the outlier detection. And now we're going to go into the historical data and just edit one of those, the last data points that we see. So we're going to put some kind of a crazy value so it makes sure it works in the demo. And we'll just save that. And then we'll head back to our dashboard and see that come through. So on the left, you have the anomaly, and on the right, you see it's been dealt with. Now, all of these data sets then get stored within our semantic layer. So this is really important, obviously. So the semantic layer then holds the raw, the cleansed, and the curated, and that can be used for things like Copilot. And Copilot really loves those semantic layers. We've seen great evidence of this, where this is an example of our office building. It's a 6th-floor office building, and it's helped us identify a number of issues on our heating and energy systems.
Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you.
So Veolia is not really a Microsoft shop, as they say. So why did you choose Fabric Real-Time Intelligence at all?
Yeah.
What was your evaluation process there?
So we did quite a lengthy process, actually. We spent a few months going through a proper RFP process. We held a number of hackathons. We built proof of concepts using real-time intelligence and also a number of the competitor solutions to evaluate. And for us, it was really important to go through this process to select the right partner, because we're thinking about a global solution. We're a multi-cloud environment, so it's kind of super complex, and we also want to ensure that we can manage it centrally, but with the ability to locally tweak that final solution for the customer. So we did these proof of concepts. We finally selected real-time intelligence. We found that I think the performance tests, first of all, were really good. I mean, real-time intelligence performed fantastically in the technical tests. Also, the total cost of ownership, we were able to make efficiencies because we didn't have to have the same size of team to manage all these different technical components. And also, we're able to use our existing Power BI. It's a growing technology in our company, so we're able to use that kind of strong foundation of Power BI capacities and Fabric capacities there as well. Finally, as well, the partnership approach. We saw through the process that we had a really good partnership with your team. They worked well together. And we've been able to continue that after the selection, and hopefully for for many years in the future.
So speaking of the future, so what's next for you?
Yeah, so this is a quote from a video that our CEO put on LinkedIn. It was a selfie video. And to summarize, this is really key for us. If we want to be a leader in providing kind of ecological AI solutions to our customers, and we want to embed this into our operations and our operational processes, if we don't have strong, reliable, real-time data management on all of our time series data, we simply can't get there. So Fabric Real-Time Intelligence is going to play a huge part in making this strategy a success.
Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's awesome to see the value that Carl and Veolia are getting already from Fabric Real-Time Intelligence. And now I want to talk a bit about enterprise capabilities and developer experience in Fabric Real-Time Intelligence. As I heard from Carl, Veolia using real-time intelligence in mission-critical scenarios. And enterprise readiness and also developer experience are core of our mission. It's not enough that features will. We need to make sure the product works out of the box. And for that, I would like to invite Tessa, my friend, partner product manager for RTI, to show more.
Thank you. Okay, before I get into the specific one around some of the pieces, I got to spend over the next 10 minutes, as Yitzhak mentioned, showing you a bit more of the depth of the product and how it's really, ready for prime time for your organizations. I'll just walk really quickly through all of the different pieces, because as Yitzhak said, there's so much capability, and you saw it real time from Carl's demos as well. We really do span the full end-to-end piece, starting all the way from event ingestion through the real-time analytics. Having AI integrated throughout has been very, very important, of course. Real-time dashboards, being able to monitor and trigger real-time rules, and then ultimately have event-driven actions throughout your complete solution. And as Yitzhak mentioned, we were actually here last year, and we announced the preview of real-time intelligence. Was anybody here last year with us when we were announcing it? A few of you? Okay, great. And so since then, we did reach generally available, that milestone back in November, and we continue to evolve all the time. And so hopefully you've tried out Fabric already and real-time intelligence. If you haven't, go try it out today. But as you're doing that, and as Carl said, the partnership with all of our customers is extremely important. So as you find things and you have feedback, please don't hesitate to send it to the team, and we'll keep improving as we go. So now that you have a feeling for kind of the end-to-end capabilities of real-time intelligence, I'm going to talk on a couple of the different ways we see customers leveraging, or ways you can leverage some of these capabilities that might not seem obvious out of the box. Because a lot of the time we talk about, especially that high volume, high granularity analytics, that ability to query petabytes of data in seconds. But we also have a couple more, let's say, event-driven opportunities as well. And that's a big piece that we've been investing in over the last 6 months. And so the first one we'll start with is this event-driven architecture. And so this is the idea that instead of having everything kind of hardwired and maybe schedule-driven or manually controlled, you can actually use the events to trigger the solutions and different steps throughout your solution. And so this really allows for a much more kind of scalable and flexible architecture. And you can really separate both the event producers and the event consumers to both optimize the different parts of your system. And of course, since we talk about real-time intelligence, this also gives you the benefit of processing events as they occur. So this ultimately reduces that time to value for the entire system. You don't have to wait to check if something happens. You literally, as soon as the event comes in, it can help with the rest of the system. And so this is actually going to take us right into a demo so you can see how this works in a scenario. In this case, this is going to be a luggage tracking system. So imagine an airport. In fact, if you have been following real-time intelligence, you'll hear many different kind of airport or airline scenarios. As Yitzhak said, we have a wide range of customers and industries, but airlines and airports really have that big critical business operations need, and they've gotten a ton of value from real-time intelligence. So in this case, it's a luggage tracking system, and you can imagine that I think we've all, maybe even many of us, traveled to get here. The luggage is scanned throughout the airport, different scanners sending the data in different formats. I'm sure we're familiar of this type of problem within a system. And then those events, those luggage scanning events, need to be used in the rest of the solution in a few different ways. One of the ways is in a customer-facing mobile app. So that's one thing it has to power. Another one is the analytics, kind of a similar scenario maybe to what Carl showed you about how the event comes in and they want to be able to process it. And the last one is actually being able to power events within the rest of the system. And you'll see how using real-time intelligence and this event-driven architecture is going to make all of that work.
That's it.
Okay. So this includes some pieces that are already generally available and some pieces that are sneak peek. So you can see how we're continuing to improve the capabilities as well. And so in this case, we're starting in the real-time hub. And the real-time hub really is that central location for all of the streaming and event data across the whole organization. A huge problem today is that organizations aren't able to discover and reuse it. The real-time hub makes that very easy. And so you can see we have a wide range of connectors and sources. And one of the most recent connectors that we added was actually the MQTT connector. And this allows in this scenario, all of our luggage scanning events are coming through that source. So with a few connection parameters, we ultimately hooked it up, and now we have what is our event stream. And this is where we can transform and process and route all of this data for the rest of our solution. And one of the great capabilities that we have coming up is around our schema management. And in this case, again, as I mentioned, we have different scanners bringing in the different luggage tracking. And so I've actually associated the schemas for each of those different data sets into this particular event stream. And now what this allows me to do is ensure the right quality and the right information is coming through from each of these different scanned items. And so you can see here I use one of the transformations, and the transformation understands that out-of-box curated schema that I've already registered, and I can use the transformation to actually map and ensure that the event that's coming in matches the schema that I've registered for my organization. And I can do that for all of the 3 different types of events that are coming through the same broker. And now once they've all been mapped to that canonicalized schema, I can merge them back in and have a single set of events that's coming through. Now ensuring that I have all of the right information. And I don't want to stop there. It's not just the events that I want to bring into the rest of my system. I also want to bring in some reference data. So you see very easily I bring in another source, and I'm able to merge it in with the event as it comes in real time. And then now I want to route it to these different destinations. The first one I'm actually going to add is a derived stream. And what this allows is for the source to be this kind of curated stream now to be discovered back in the real-time hub for others to benefit from it as well. I can also land it into a database that powers the mobile app I mentioned. I can land the same events into my analytics, my event house tables, to ensure that my whole data professional team can leverage it. And finally, I can use it in Kafka as well. So see, all from one stream, being able to bring it to all of these destinations. And then ultimately, I can even map it into different places. You can see here, I have a concept of emitting custom events. And this is super powerful because now, anytime that luggage meets a certain criteria, in this case, if the luggage is lost, I actually want to emit an event so that anyone else in the system is listening and can subscribe for it, and then ultimately build their own event-driven solutions on top of it as well. So that was kind of a whirlwind tour of a bunch of different pieces of what an event-driven solution could look like. And you can see of all of the different places from the emitting, the processing, routing, and powering all of the different downstream applications of it as well. Okay, the next one. But wait, there's more. Sure, go ahead. Is Activator supporting Microsoft Purview? In which way? Yeah. So how do we handle PII in the whole solution? It's a great question, and it really depends on what you want to have as part of your solution.
Where you want this data to be redacted, you can redact it once it comes in, or it can be redacted in other places in the system. So once it comes in, you can do a transformation to redact this information, for example. And all the stream are available in the lineage in Fabric, so you can see where it's coming from. So you have a full end-to-end view of all this data from the source till the consumption.
Great question. Okay, which kind of leads into some of the observability pieces and helping understand what's happening in your system. So we've talked about a few different solutions. The last one we just went through was trying to touch on a little bit of everything, right? What might happen in a real world organization. In this case, you imagine you have all of those pieces flowing through and you want to be able to essentially model them and ensure that there's the good performance over time. And so this type of solution, we're leveraging the events to actually observe and monitor our solution and then take decisions accordingly. And so in this case, you're going to see a few scenarios where you're going to monitor the jobs and pipeline performance. Out of box, we have what we call Fabric events, and that's really events that happen around Fabric as you're using it. You're able to report on these scenarios. You can use them to trigger certain actions like rerunning failed jobs. And then ultimately, you can also take further action, whether it's within Fabric itself or in other systems using Power Automate, or even just alerting the teams through email or Teams channels as well. And once again, we can process all of this as it's coming in.
And as you saw from Carl's demo, we support 300 plus connectors, so it can connect to other systems there. So not only within even the Microsoft ecosystem.
And this is a big one that we are seeing a lot of excitement from different development communities that we work very closely with. Even within Fabric, we have our own teams that are using this to ultimately manage and run our own pipelines and processing that we're doing. So in this case, you'll see a quick demo, once again, starting in the real-time hub. And what we're seeing is that bottom option around Fabric events. And this is where you see those kind of discrete events, whether it's Fabric emitting things like the job events or OneLake events that are coming. And you can directly subscribe them and streamify them into an event stream, which allows you to, once again, kind of process and route them real time. You could also just immediately set an alert on them if you wanted to monitor the discrete events. But in this case, I'm going to take them into an event stream to have a bit more control over that processing. And so you can see actually in the bottom, the events are coming in real time as I'm building the event stream. And once again, I'm going to use some of the out-of-box transformations. In this case, I'm going to use the managed fields to choose the different records that I want to bring into the rest of the system. And you'll see it kind of prompts me, okay, this just having the transform isn't sufficient. You actually want to put it somewhere. And so in this case, I'm going to choose Event House. As you heard from Carl, this really is that curated engine for high volume, high granularity data. And just like that, the data is flowing in, and I can jump right into Event House and start seeing this data flow in and immediately query it with either the out-of-box queries that come. So there's some very straightforward examples, like it's showing me the top 100 records. But I can also use Copilot, and this is super powerful. You've seen it in so many demos this week, I'm sure. But you can use natural language to get these insights on top of this high volume, high granularity data. And just like that, I can immediately get a record. I'm looking for failures over the last hour, and there's none of them yet, which is great. And so in this case, I'm actually going to monitor this specific query that I've created, or Copilot's helped me create, and actually alert me whenever a record does come in. You saw that I can configure how often that query is being run. And now if I open the activator, the rule that I just created, I can configure what it's going to do. So when it does detect something, I want to take an action. In this case, I want to send an email. I can customize what the email looks like and even send a test email to make sure that what's coming through to me and my team is helpful and actionable. And so just like that, built a full solution that lets me monitor my existing data solution as well. But of course, when we talk about data solutions, I'll show a couple more things that are super important for enterprises. One is programmability. We need to be able to access all of this. The UI is great. No code, low code is really helpful. But ultimately, we need APIs. We need CI/CD. We need full lifecycle management. And this is a great case where Fabric is improving every week. But across real-time intelligence, we're generally available across all of the different items that we have in real-time intelligence to be able able to use this programmatic endpoint. And it's not just having the documentation and having those pieces out there. We also have a full end-to-end sample code and demo walkthrough. So if you are interested in seeing how this will work for your solution, go take a look at what we've published around our APIs and CI/CD today. Network security is another super important one, of course, we know for all enterprises. This is one, once again, that Fabric is continuing to improve. And what you'll see so far, we have our public preview around managed private endpoints. So you're able to connect to secured data in both Event Stream and Event House. And you'll see more and more capabilities coming here, including workspace level and tenant level ones. So this is a big thing we wanted to make sure that, that we highlighted the availability of. And now the last couple pieces I just wanted to highlight, scale and performance. You heard it from Carl, you heard it from many customers, you probably have this yourself. Scale and performance typically becomes a big consideration when you think about something that has this type of data sizes, the speed that you might want to process solutions in. And so we take benchmarking and this analysis very seriously, both first party, like within our own team, and then also working with third party benchmarks to see how real-time intelligence performs. And ultimately we have a benchmark that's being published any day now. And this shows, compared to other solutions, that we have about 2 times lower latency, so it's faster than the other solution. It's more cost-effective, consistently 20% less expensive. And then ultimately, there's 9 times higher throughput. So you have all of these different benefits of using real-time intelligence, and then ultimately, you get that same time to value and benefit for the system that we talk about. So altogether, really offers a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and that's the value of having it a cohesive solution to get all those multipliers in one place.
So as I mentioned, we are improving every week. And so this is just some of the recent items. If you see on the left-hand side, these current releases, if you caught Satya's keynote, we talked about the digital twin builder to
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. So you'll hear a little bit more about that today, but we have more and more coming. We have a full, for example, custom code support for SQL in the event stream processing. You'll see more and more connectors, the ability to take action across Fabric and other systems using the data parameters as they come through. So more and more being released literally every week. And of course, we have a nice long roadmap. Actually, if you go to aka.ms/realtime roadmap, you'll see all of the different pieces that are coming soon. Again, more connectors, more custom transforms, more destinations. You'll just see us keep building it up. And of course, if you're trying something out and you have a feature request, please don't hesitate to submit it. The team looks for that feedback all the time.
Thank you, Tessa.
Okay, of course.
So as Tessa was saying, we're really releasing new capabilities every week and really use your voice to really influence our backlog because we want to make sure that the solution works for you. And speaking of solutions that works for you, I would like to invite another of our customers today, Dr. Park from QCells, Senior Vice President, to show us a bit about their story with Fabric Real-Time Intelligence. So,
nice to meet you, everybody.
It's great to have here, Dr. Park. Thank you for joining us. So if you want to tell a bit about yourself, QCells.
My name is Youngchun, and I'm heading up the digital solution and grid service business unit in the QCell. We're the umbrella of the Hanwha Business, which is a $60 billion company that largely focused on the manufacturing and the clean energy spaces where we build solar, battery, and gas turbine, hydrogen, whatever necessary to make that our greener and fossil fuel independent the world and moving forward. So I'm representing the software development and then data-driven organization transformation at the organization.
Thank you. And again, we're a developer conference. I'm sure the geeks here and myself would like to see the architecture. So if you can share what's your current solution before real-time intelligence.
Until I joined, I think our organization has really enjoyed the capabilities to build a lot of things in-house from all the way from bottom to top. So I saw a lot of in-house custom integrations of basically we build the fabric in a steroid within our own organizations where not necessarily to scale in, particularly integrations between data ingestions to the transformation. You have to introduce yourself, some of those bottlenecks, and then your entire open source integration has to be maintained by yourself. And then multi-geographic, we're serving over 5 different located geographical regions, and within US, roughly 12,000 household virtual power plant cannot rely on just the high bottleneck size. So we have kind of bit of challenges that in terms of scaling, in terms of our own custom integration of the off-the-shelf, but it's open source. Therefore, you have to track the open source version, but also you have to maintain your code base. I think these are the kind of current opportunity that we have encountered. This is going to be pretty much the same for everybody.
Yeah, and Fabric supports open source formats, so that would be an easy migration.
Yeah.
So if you want to kind of walk us through like your Fabric real-time intelligence architecture and how you use it for
I think this
cells.
is a bit of the repeated view from probably looks like is that there's no magic, pretty much the same pattern. Imagine that left-hand side, we have over very different types of the solar panels, batteries, and EVs, and so on. You coming out the different data formats and so on. We bring it into traditional SQL integrations or offline data through the data factory, and IoT data coming into the IoT and Event Hub, normal stream, and then put them into the event stream. We put them into kind of tiered approaches where various different schemas sitting under the kind of bronze layer. We don't necessarily do any upfront of the translation and so on. And once we bring it into the silver layer, we just do the cleansing and schema transformation with the enrichment side. And then in the gold layer, we actually do the projection of what the application can understand. I think you can think of it as more like semantic layers. And then it served through the APIs for any security related and the throttling of exposed to the outside and so on. So think of it as this has to be like a cohesive one platform. Obviously underneath is one leg, serve all the real time, but also the relational data or non-relational data coming into it. So it fit into the Power Platform that leverages pretty much every out-of-the-box capability, which eventually gives you manageability overall.
And this is like a good example of what we call streaming medallion architecture, similar to the original medallion architecture. And you evaluated also other providers out there, and you had your own thing. So you want to share a bit about what you have found in your evaluation, why you choose Fabric Real-Time Intelligence?
The first is the custom integration components that we have to make everything available was hard in terms of the maintaining real time, particularly operational angle. Second is ease of use. So you don't necessarily do the expert on one open source and next open source and so on and so forth. And third would be the most important part. Your partner has to have a mentality to co-develop and closely work with you that minimize the your and ours, in our case, our mistake in the development. So the time to develop, and then it's one of the angle, and also the co-development is probably the second most important angle.
And again, what's for future for you? How are you going to use this solution for Qcells?
So I think we have a North Star, right? So make sure that we can bring the most cost-effective green energy in a world where operator, which is an asset owner, I want to maximize that downtime, minimize the downtime, maximize the return. And utility side, I want to make sure that I have a most reliable grid network. To do that, you need to have an extremely well understanding of forecasting of your energy production, which because it's no longer unidirectional energy distributions, right? And then maximize in a way that when I can dispatch the battery when your grid is in shortage of your electricity. That requires a real time, but you're talking about a million household has to do the dispatch and charging nearly real time with a very strong intelligence of forecasting and optimization. So looking at the ahead, almost everything from all the bottom to the cloud, you have to have real-time intelligence and AI that embedded into it, make sure that forecasting is right and dispatch scheduling is right. And to do that, we need to have the real-time intelligence solutions also embedding with fabrics and AI capabilities that bring us to the stabilization of the grid. I think that's the ultimate goal we're building in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining us. So that was very insightful, and customers similar like Qcells, we see across many industries, and we see a similar goal for them. They want to optimize their operations and connect the physical to the digital. So I have some good news for you to share today. So The RTI family is expanding, and we bring new capabilities with the Digital Twin Builder and Fabric Real-Time Intelligence that allows to bridge this gap between the physical and the digital world. And as we heard from QCells and other customers, this will make them go to the next level. So let's see this in action.
Imagine a world where data flows seamlessly from multiple sources, becoming actionable insights in real time. Where you add meaning to that data by creating digital representations of processes and systems driving your business. And where you use these representations, digital twins, to access deep analytics, what-if simulations, power reasoning for AI agents on an unprecedented scale. Welcome to the future of intelligence with Digital Twin Builder and Microsoft Fabric Real-Time Intelligence. Digital Twin Builder provides a shared understanding of your real-world environments, including assets, logical processes, and systems into a shared vocabulary within your specific domain. Map your streaming and batch data to your digital twin with low-code, no-code interfaces, making it accessible to everyone, and add meaningful connections to your digital twin with semantic relationships. Unlock insight like never before using Copilot with your digital twin data in Power BI, and gain comprehensive visibility into your physical operations. Analyze trends and detect anomalies in time series data flowing from your real-world environment to your digital twin through a wide variety of connectors. Alert your team so they can promptly respond to issues and improve overall efficiency. Digital Twin Builder and Real-Time Intelligence democratizes and scales digital twins, making them accessible and actionable for operators and decision makers. Discover more about how Microsoft Fabric Real-Time Intelligence can transform your business. All your data, all your teams, all in one place.
So with that, I would like to invite Shafia, Principal Product Manager for Digital Twin, to show us more.
I'm really excited that we are adding this capability to the real-time intelligence family. The Digital Twin Builder, as we have seen, enables our customers to create digital representation of full environments with a low-code and no-code approach. And this helps make what we have seen before as complex and taking a long time more simple, and it democratizes and scales the digital twin scenarios and make them accessible to operators and decision makers. So, and it's not only about creating the digital replica of your environment. Digital Twin Builder helps you keep that digital twin in sync with your real-world environment. And you do that by allowing you to map the data flowing from your physical assets, processes, systems, to a digital twin ontology in a shared vocabulary within your specific domain. And it also allows you to contextualize the data with semantic relationships. So all of this helps create an AI-ready foundation to enhance advanced analytics, what-if simulations that are really important, but also powers reasoning for AI agents. And now let's look at it in action. As Yitzhak, our customers have shared already, many organizations across different industries are using real-time intelligence to optimize their operations. And for this demo, we'll look at how the Sustainable Energy Company is using Digital Twin Builder alongside all the goodness that you have seen so far to help them better understand their physical environment for even more efficiencies. It starts with the technician receiving an alert with a potential issue or an unknown with one of the turbines. And on the dashboard, they are able to see the real-time data flowing from across the wind farm. And in the same dashboard, they can see that there is an anomaly on a specific turbine in one of the plants. And this information is helpful, but it is actually missing the physical context of how things are set up, the status codes, how the components kind of relate to each other. And that's where the Digital Twin Builder helps the technicians see the wind turbine in the context of the rest of the farm. Here, they are able to explore the different components such as the rotor, the blade, the generator, the data and metadata related to these components, as well as the relationships between these different components. They can also see the history of fault codes and resolution. And with this comprehensive view, they can see that the error code 7002 is related to a communication failure, and they are given a proposed solution. And with the power of Activator, they can notify the customer service manager in the area before their customers even notice. So cool, right? So now let's rewind and see how all of this is built using real-time intelligence and Digital Twin Builder. So it starts in the real-time hub where the data engineer can connect to different streaming endpoints using event streams. This data is processed and routed in real time to Event House, where actually the petabytes of data can be queried in seconds. And in Event House, we can also access data from OneLake. That includes data such as operational technology, informational technology, or engineering technology data. For example, things like maintenance logs, supply chain information, customer records, and more. So all of this data, both streaming and batch, is now in my Event House. I want to give it operational meaning. I want to understand the context of the physical setup, and we use the Digital Twin Builder to create that digital replica. We start by defining the entities and the relationships, the semantic relationships. Here, for example, I'm adding a new entity. I'm going to give it a name like maintenance. Next, as we have seen, we want to map the data flowing from the real world into this entity. So I go to my OneLake, I select the source tables that I want to use here, and then I decide how do I map the properties of my entity to the maintenance entity. Effectively, what we are doing here, we are creating a twin by bringing together the time series and non-time series into one single unified representation of my physical environment.
And this can be done on physical, but also non-physical if you want to map your business processes or other flows in your organization, also virtual representation is there.
Yes, and it doesn't stop there. We can actually add more context to our digital twin by creating semantic relationships reflecting the physical and logical interactions of my environment. So here, I'm creating a relationship between the maintenance entity and the wind turbine. These relationships help me contextualize and find more correlated insights. And with the Digital Twin Builder flow, any new data coming to OneLake is reflected in our digital twin. And the digital twin data itself is also stored in OneLake, made available for other analytics, what-if scenarios, AI agents, using the different Fabric artifacts. So for example, the data analyst can create real-time dashboards, define alerts to anticipate issues. And data scientists and data engineers can access the digital twin from within Notebook and automatically extract ML features such as the capacity factor, wind speed, to help them predict the energy output and run what-if simulations. This helps them not only to predict the energy output, as I said, but also identify how to maintain the consistent capacity power independent of the issues or the unknowns in their environments. And it gets even more exciting here because we can enrich the digital twin with 3D metadata that we extract from Notebook using the universal scene description libraries. And we represent this metadata as an entity that we relate to the turbine entity in our digital twin, effectively contextualizing the spatial 3D meshes with our digital twin. And all of this can be visualized in applications supporting OpenUSD, such as those developed by NVIDIA Omniverse. So the combination of the digital twin, the real-time data, and the AI-driven insight and real-time intelligence is really empowering our customers to realize, not only to anticipate issues, but also realize more efficiencies. In summary, what we have seen in this demo is how Digital Twin Builder, again, alongside all the goodness that is in real-time intelligence in Fabric, helps and simplifies the creation of digital twins or digital representation of physical environment, but also helps you drill down, explore, derive insights from your digital twin using the Fabric artifacts such as Copilot or real-time dashboards. And finally, I wanted to share one example of one of our early adopter customers, CSX, who is a major transportation company, who has started using Digital Twin Builder in our early preview. Basically, they are using it to create a full representation of their operational environment. This includes trains, routes, cargo, locomotives, and whatnot, with the goal of optimizing the fuel efficiency of the fuel burn rate and efficiencies depending on dynamic parameters such as the routes and the type of cargo. So like CSX, I all invite you to check out the Digital Twin Builder, and please reach out and share feedback with us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Shafin. This is an example of a solution architecture of Fabric real-time intelligence showing the use case end-to-end as you just saw. But it's not all of it. As I said, AI is an essential pillar for your business. And I would like to dive more deep into it, and that's kind of the dessert for today's session, AI. Real-time intelligence and AI are tightly interconnected. As AI becomes more capable, it supercharges real-time experiences. And in turn, real-time data makes AI smarter and more useful in the moment. Real-time intelligence is where full spectrum of AI comes to life, from Copilot experiences to AI-powered insights, all the way to operational agents that can act on the data on your behalf. And to show more and go into details, I would like to invite Tessa to show the demo.
I don't know, maybe everyone's seen too much of AI. You want to see some? Okay, we'll get to show you some of the capabilities that we have. As Yitzhak said, we talk about real-time intelligence powering and being powered by AI. You already saw the powered by AI pieces. You saw some of the Copilot accelerated experiences. Here I'm going to show some of the solutions that it powers. And we'll start with a straightforward one, maybe, anomaly detection. Now, this is something, of course, that is prevalent in all areas. We really want to understand when something is not quite following an expected pattern, right? Finding those high-value needles in a haystack. The hard thing about this is typically we don't know what we don't know, and we talk about them as finding the unknown unknowns. And really, when we talk about this high-volume, high-granularity data, it is so hard to monitor these thousands or even millions of data points 24/7 to really find those insights that are hidden within it. So I'm going to show a quick experience about how easy and how capable we make this, and then also there's a full kind of experience that's supporting it behind the scenes. And so this experience specifically around kind of the more business user or Insight Explorer experience is currently in private preview. And one of the things that you've seen across a number of the different demos is that ability to use Activator to monitor for specific conditions and then take action. But sometimes you don't actually know what you're looking for. You don't know what to set that rule to. And what we have with this anomaly detection and these AI-powered alerts is the ability to just say what parameters you want to be monitoring. So in this case, all I have to do is choose which data sources, whether it's the active power, the pitch angle, and then how I want it to be notified. And just like that, real-time intelligence is going to start monitoring these parameters for me, and it's going to look for anomalies in this data. And so if I go to the anomaly detection summary, this is where I can see all of the different anomalies as they've been detected. And it's not just the anomalies themselves. I can also see all of the other data that happened in context, so I can understand what was going on in the system. And this really helps me understand, is this an anomaly I need to take immediate action on, or maybe it was a false positive? I have the full context. But if I switch back to the live feed, I can actually see the records as they come in, so I can see the anomalies as they're being detected. And in this case, I can actually see that a particular turbine, the power anomalies are coming in fast and furious, something that would have been almost impossible for me to be manually monitoring. And this is some of the power that comes with real-time intelligence and having our AI integration, that ability to have this out of box and also available for me to kind of continually fine-tune for my organization. So that was just starting on the first one, but as Yitzhak said, there's even more. And so the idea of really elevating your solution and especially your operations to a whole new level. And of course, agents is a common term you've probably heard around Build this week and really just the world. But what we're really excited to show a sneak peek of operational agents. And what this really does is kind of take it a step further and have an agent that can augment your operations team to really help them look for specific patterns and then actually take action on your behalf so that your team can be more performant and focus on the higher value tasks. You want to see it in action? Yeah? Okay, great. Okay.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, that was the right answer. Okay, so sneak peek on operational agents. This is one, like I mentioned, we're very excited about in real-time intelligence. So from here, you can actually see that these real-time intelligence operational agents are virtual team members that can really help with any day-to-day operations. So when you create the agent, you start as you would with kind of onboarding any new team member, and you're going to give it a goal. So in this case, we're going to say, we're going to continue the power theme, and so let's help make sure the power output is maintained in our turbines. And just like that, the agent is going to actually take in the goal that I've shared, and it's going to kind of go through our existing system and see what information that it already knows and how it can help with this goal. So you can see here that it's already found the existing streams and tables and even found the relevant columns in a specific event house. Now this might take a little bit back and forth to kind of get it focused in the right space, but in this case it actually looks great. And I'm indicating I want you to monitor what you just, these particular tables, but specifically I want you to look for anomalies. And I want you to look for anomalies in these columns. And then when you do find them, actually take an action by using Power Automate. And so once I give it all of this information, it's actually going to take this and bring it back into building up its own plan. Okay, it's going to monitor the field, it sees the records that I'm looking for, and it actually found that notify field operator action that I want it to take. And with just that, we can confirm it, and now my agent is kind of configured and ready to take action as part of the broader team member. If I go to configure, I can see all the different pieces, I can see the goals, I can see the action it can take, and all of the data that it's pulling from. And so here, this is also where I can configure it a little bit more. I can add different actions. I can add different knowledge sources. So of course, I can talk back and forth with it, or I can set it up in the configuration. And now just like that, it's actually set up to run, and it's going to run in the background autonomously for me and actually be able to run even when, do it on our behalf 24/7 on all of these different parameters we've already set up. So now we'll see it in action, and this is how you know it's real if you have a console app running next to a demo. So what you're going to see on the right-hand side is a little bit of what the agent is doing. And so in the background, it's actually monitoring, and it's identified a specific anomaly, and it's actually going to indicate that to me. So in our chat experience, it's actually raising it proactively and say, hey, I found the anomaly, and also I took it a step further and actually tried to understand what happened in this case. I did a root cause analysis, and I feel like this is probably what happened. And again, takes it even further than that, actually suggests an action for me to take. In this case, it suggests that we actually assign a field engineer. That looks like the right action, and so I confirm it. And just like that, now I have that team member that really understood the opportunity and took an action, and then also suggested we do this in an ongoing way. And so now we actually have an alert set up, a rule set up to always run. When this particular case is detected for this particular area, it's actually going to do that action automatically. And that way we've reduced the back and forth between myself and the agent, and it can run autonomously behind the scenes as part of the team. So just like that, operational agents in real-time intelligence, yeah. And so in this particular case, you can also build it. We've seen different customers building autonomous agents. We actually had a winner of the Hack Together Microsoft Data in Kenya Hack do exactly that using Event House, OpenAI, and Fabric Notebook to ultimately build their own agents as well. And it really
Thank you.
powers lots of capabilities. Yeah, thanks.
And going back to the same energy management solution, this where you can see all come together. All the data is ingested, transformed, modeled, and all this in real time. And by enhancing every stage of the AI, you get a full end-to-end system that not only monitors, but also interacts and improves continuously your business operations. So now I'm sure that you're asking yourself how I can get started. So go use our documentation. That's an easy place to start. You can start by getting your hands dirty, going to our learning path and do hands-on labs with that. You can use applied skills to really try and get your solution built with Fabric Real-Time Intelligence up to getting the full certification. DP700, so highly recommend go through this path. One thing that I would like you to encourage you to sign up for Real-Time Intelligence in a Day workshop. That's a free workshop led by our partners, full day, that get you up to speed with Fabric Real-Time Intelligence. Really highly encourage you, go do it. Speaking of our partners, we're working closely with our partners and global system integrators to get you up to speed. And today we have more than 30,000 consultants worldwide trained in Fabric Real-Time Intelligence, more than 6,000 Fabric community members, and more than 70 featured partners that can help you accelerate Fabric Real-Time Intelligence. So that's the list of the partners. Really use them to help you to get your specific vertical solution for your space. There are more sessions at Build, and we are over time, so come see us. And again, thank you for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of the conference.